Hey now, ladies and gentlemen, our number 3 of the Line Talk 99.5 on this very chaotic Friday. Feels like Friday the 13th almost because everything's just wacky today. Wacky, wacky, wacky. Let's see. What do I want to tell you about next? And I think that is going to be none other than Underdog Fantasy. That's right. Underdog Fantasy. Download the Underdog app for free, as you know. Today, if there's ever been a day that you need to download that app, today's that day. All right. You may have been sitting on it. Some of y'all may have been thinking, I don't know. It doesn't really seem like my thing. Today's the day you should try it. You've got big games coming up. You got Tennessee versus Iowa State. You got Alabama, Michigan. You got other games all weekend long. And you can be making picks and winning real money. I'm talking money you can then turn around and put in your bank account and spend it. You could be like Damian Mitchell, who was just winning money on the Wheel of Fortune. You're just winning money on Underdog from the comfort of your own home or your office or wherever you're at. Real money in your hands. Download the app, free to download, free to sign up, and free to use my promo code HeyNow, all one word, HeyNow. And when you do that, you're going to get some bonus entries. As a matter of fact, $50 worth when you play your first $5, just because you use my promo code. Just go in there, pick your players, pick if they're going to go higher or lower on stats like rebounds or steals or points or three-pointers or whatever it is. Get your entries right and win yourself some money. I'm dead serious about this. I've won countless times on Underdog, and now it's your turn. So download the app today and use promo code HeyNow to score $50 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code HeyNow. Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 19 or older and present in Alabama. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details concerned with your play. Call 1-800-MY-RESET or visit ncpgambling.org. If you want to get in, here's the way to do it. 205-545-9950. Bubba Rumble's up first. Bubba Rumble, how are you, Bub?
Oh, doing good, doing good. Me love Hey Now Nation. Long time, no homo.
Even though we're all out of whack today?
Well, that's part of why I called, because what I'm seeing here is a display of talk radio, perseverance, and fortitude. A glitchy computer cannot keep Andrew Mandu and Jonathan Bizzle down.
That's right, man. We're going to make it work one way or another.
True professionals, you know. So you were talking about PSAs and how some stations fill a lot of their empty time because they don't have advertisers. And that's another one of the things that makes Talk 99.5 the GOAT. Y'all don't flood us with those dumb PSAs all day, every day. They get repetitive and obnoxious at times.
That's a good point. Yeah, and I think I've gotten several text messages. I think people listen. You're obviously listening online. How are you listening?
Okay, so through my Roku player, I have what's called the My Tuner app, something kind of like an iHeartRadio or whatever, and it performs quite flawlessly. I haven't really had much glitches today. I lost you guys just for a minute there, but that could have been on my end as well because I have that stinking Frontier internet. I hope nobody else has to deal with that.
Well, we've had people text in, and I don't know if this is through our app or what, but people are saying like we're off air on the app, or it's like 10 minutes of commercials and 4 minutes of show. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but it sounds like they need to take your advice and go with the tuner whatever.
Yeah, My Tuner app, and it's free and it works great. And I listen to it's got podcasts on there. You can get the Over the Line podcast through it too, and stations all over the world, you know, and get on that PSA thing, over here, one of the ones they play every summer, and it's obnoxious, and I can't stand it. It makes me want to break my radio sometimes, is the weather's getting hot. So here comes the PSA about not leaving your baby in a hot car like they do every summer. And one of them concludes with, if to make sure you don't forget your baby in the back seat, put something important in the back seat of your car, like your cell phone.
Yeah, there's an idea. You won't forget that. You might forget your baby, but you ain't gonna forget your cell phone.
it makes me sad that I live in a world where people's cell phones are more important than their baby.
It,
Is
re-
that how bad it's getting, man?
it really is. I mean, in some cases, it does seem that way. And I mean, advancements have been made. Like my vehicle always tells me to check the back seat when I cut the car off. Certain vehicles have this, that, and the other, but that's probably 2018 or 19 and newer. So we got a long way to go before everybody's got that kind of technology.
We all just need self-driving EVs, and we don't have to worry about this kind of stuff anymore, right?
That's right.
If you guys were going to cut a PSA, just even for just the sake of doing it, I think you should cut a PSA for unemployed truck drivers with TDS.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
If you know what I mean.
Well, all right. Are we going to be able to see Uncle Slam's performance somewhere in the interwebs or whatever?
Yeah, I will. I'll either broadcast it live. Of course, it'll be on sites that you don't use, but we'll have it uploaded somewhere to make sure you can get your hands on it. Hell,
okay. And then when are you guys going to get back on the podcast for us over on the Rumble? I'm feeling a little lonely over here, man.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Everything's up in the air on that, and it's weird because I don't really have any answers. I think maybe this next week I'll be able to do some explaining, but we're just kind of, we're just.
Well, as a professional podcast and live stream viewer, I can tell you right now, you guys are way ahead of shows that get a lot of views. Like you started out the right way. You got multiple camera angles, crisp, clear audio, a nice studio to broadcast from, and you got the three amigos. I mean, come on now.
I know. We definitely. That was the thing, that we've always talked about is we felt like we've had the content, but it's been such an uphill battle that, and there are things that we could do better on the distribution aspect of it, but the content has always been there, I feel like.
It is. It's great content. I mean, a lot of people I see getting big views are just one camera shows, just a talking head, you know what I mean? And they don't have Jay Bizzle playing his guitar or nothing like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. But yeah, hopefully next week I'll have some answers for you and we'll have a clearer picture of what things look like going forward.
Okay, well, I know I'm not the only one out here wondering, because we got the Hey Now Nation and we got the Bubba Army crossovers in the mix, and we're all just kind of adrift in a sea of no podcast.
I know. Trust me. I know.
All right, dudes, have a great weekend, and all I can say after that is, hey now.
Hey now. Yeah, I don't know what's up. I assume that this is, and I'll check it during the break, but I'm getting text after text of people saying all they're hearing is ads. So that sounds like it's something that's out of our control, but I'll pull up our app and listen to it during the break and just see what it is that, I think somebody even said, did y'all leave for Piedmont early? Where did y'all go? So we've just completely disappeared. I'll also tip off engineering and AJ and everything else, all the important people as to what's what. Rick's on the line. Rick, what's up, buddy?
Hey, I'm worried about Mr. Squeezes a little bit. That's not what I called about. I wish you'd get in touch with Rhonda. This is a fusion between entertainment and enlightenment, isn't it?
What's that? This you talking about this show?
Well, what if they already had the bomb?
Oh.
They were just firing it up, and they find that out one day. Will they exonerate Trump?
You talking about with Iran?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty well documented that Iran was on the verge of, having something that was going to be very detrimental to everybody all across the world. And there's no doubt, this was crazy, there's no doubt that they hate us and they want us dead and they want Israel dead. I mean, they literally chant death to America on a regular basis.
They started the whole thing. They were threatening us.
Yeah.
Trump's doing what he's supposed to be doing. If he's the real president, he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. But there's one other thing I want to talk about. When you're going to build a house, you need a strong foundation. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And what I think, and it's just my opinion, and everybody's got one. Made this station great was the belief in God and that old King James Bible, and loving your neighbor like your best of kin. You know what I'm saying? That's all I got today, boys.
All right, Rick. I appreciate it, buddy. And amen to that, by the way. Got to have that foundation. Because if you don't, and John Bird and I, we with some of my family members and friends, we do a Bible study once a week, and we did one last night, and there were some things said that kind of reminded me of that very thing, like the foundation of really needing to, put things in perspective. Because we've got some things going on backstage that are kind of that have just got probably got me more out of sorts than anybody else. But it's just, it's one of those things where, you got to be reminded of your foundation in order to get through tough stuff. And otherwise, you're just kind of floating adrift. You're just floating in the wind. 205-545-9950. Let me hit this break. Trump's still speaking at the White House. We may listen to a little bit of that as well when we get back after this. Gotta get away. People on YouTube said during that break you look stressed, John Burr. Poor guy stressed. You got a big day coming up, man. There's no need to stress. This ain't nothing but a thing, cuz.
No, I mean, it's just concentration. My mind's, there's no rest.
There's no break.
Yeah, it's like here to here, here, here.
It's because you're
here.
Constantly having to watch everything because everything's just like. And then on the other side, like our app, I went and listened to our app, and all it's doing is playing commercials. So people have been texting on the text line. They're like, "Why y'all playing so many commercials?" And I was like, "You just need to go watch on YouTube because YouTube's working." I checked that. Big news of the day, by the way. You've got the DHS funding bill has been has been passed by the Senate and now heads to the House. Mike Johnson is actually going to speak in a few moments. The House wants to pass the bill different than the Senate's. I don't know what the Senate's bill looks like, but if the House changes it, it is then got to go back to the Senate. So that fight is not over as of yet. And there's been a lot of things transpire that we haven't necessarily been able to talk about when it comes to DHS and TSA and all that kind of stuff, which I will, which I'll get to. If you want to get in, 205-545-9950, 545-9950. Let's see. I'm going to tell these people again. The problem is the people that are texting in and are like, "Oh, I'm hearing his commercials." I can't talk to them on the air. I have to text them back on the text line. Let's see. Let's try a little bit of this. I'm just going to copy and paste everybody. You got to move over. If you can hear me, move over to YouTube. Give up on the app for today. We'll have it fixed by Monday. I'm sure it'll probably be fixed by Leland's show. I think it's just maybe thrown off because of what we had when it comes to computer issues. All right. So what was the last thing I brought up? I think it was, Trump's signature appearing on the currency. And I think maybe that's just going to be on the $100 bill, or maybe it's on all the bills. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But it's going to cause people to yank their hair out of their head. And it's going to cause people to file lawsuits, I'm sure. I'm sure there's a lawsuit incoming for, for Trump. It's just anything that's done that's got Trump's name attached to it, literally and figuratively, they're going to go after it, whether it's whatever. I mean, it could be anything. It's it's just wild. They're also, speaking of wild, the UN has passed a resolution. The UN is also against anything that Trump does. It's the UN's got Trump derangement syndrome. They passed a resolution demanding countries linked to slavery pay trillions of dollars in reparations. Not billions, trillions of dollars. That's right. The UN is telling you that you should be paying reparations for slavery. It says they adopted a resolution calling on Britain and other countries involved in the transatlantic slave trade to enter talks on reparations. Campaigners say potential payouts could run into the trillions. The motion, introduced by Ghana on behalf of the African Union, described the slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity. It calls for good faith dialogue on reparatory justice, including a full and formal apology, measures of restitution, and compensation. The non-binding resolution passed 124-3. The United States, Israel, and Argentina voted against it. Think about that. It was the U.S., Israel, and Argentina were Javier Milei, the chainsaw guy, who's absolutely awesome. He's a super cool dude. Those are the only three countries that voted against this. The UK abstained from voting alongside 52 other countries, including all the European Union member states. They were like, well, we don't want to do this, but we don't want to get called racist by Ghana or the African Union. Man, whatever, dude. Y'all take it and shove it up your rear. And I don't even know that they're talking about the U.S. They may just be talking about the European countries, but we're the big evil country, so I'm sure we're involved in it. It's just it's basically like dealing with the UN is just like dealing with Democrats. It's all the same. Whatever they pass or whatever they're against is just absolutely absurd and out of pocket. The Democrats actually yesterday killed a simple bill, an amendment. It was an amendment, actually. It was a simple voter ID amendment. It wasn't anything. It was simply the ID part of the Save America Act, which is now it's law. You have to show an ID to vote. Nothing about birth certificates or citizenship or anything. You just had to have a photo ID. And the reason that they voted on that amendment, or they were going to vote on that amendment, is because Democrats claimed that that's all they wanted. That they were against the other stuff, but they weren't against voter ID. Yet they voted against it. About a dozen Senate Democrats insisted they supported voter ID, and then yesterday afternoon, every single one of them voted against it. 53-47. That's pretty wild. What do they have against requiring voters to prove who they are with a government-issued photo ID? I mean, this is not just driver's license. It's military ID. It's any kind of ID that's got your picture on it. Something that everybody's got. That's what you got to have to vote. Democrats said, no, that's basically Jim Crow 2.0. Do I have? There we are. Hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now. 205-545-9950, 545-9950 will get you in. And again, for those of you that are struggling on the app and everything else, I know we got problems. That'll be fixed. As I stated, it should be fixed by the time Leland comes on. It's a thing. Like, everything lines up. Just to give you a little pulling back the curtain here, everything lines up with the clock. Right. So if our clock on our computer is wrong or something's sideways there, then it throws off everything on the app. And so it's just it's a whole thing. I really don't know how that works. But with that said, if you're listening to us on the app, you can see also the live stream of us, our YouTube live stream. So just watch us there because we're broadcasting there. Everything's normal on YouTube. And you should be good to go. Or you can go to our YouTube channel, which is, as you know, Real Talk 99.5 TV. Real Talk 99.5 TV. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, buddy. All right. So Speaker Johnson, Mike Johnson's going to be speaking in a few moments on Capitol Hill about the passing of this DHS funding and kind of see where we're at with that. We don't have a lot of details about it, but we'll probably get some insight. Trump, again, was speaking at the White House earlier. He was just speaking to farmers. There was nothing really too special about it, so we didn't bring it to you. But anything that pops up, I think that might actually be over. If anything pops up from that, we'll bring it to you. I do want to talk about this, though. This is very important. This caught my eye today as I was getting ready for the show, because it is something that I've been telling you guys for years now, and that is that the funding, and this topic has been brought up with the Iranian conflict and the fact that our European allies in the beginning didn't want to help us. Now that we've obliterated Iran's military, they're like, we can come help now. And Trump's like, well, we don't need your help anymore. But he wanted to bring up the fact, and I think he genuinely did want their help, but he also knew that there was a good chance that they wouldn't because of, their Soros overlords or whatever it may be. He knew that they wouldn't, so he was going to be able to say, all right, well, we helped you with Ukraine. You wouldn't help us here. So what does that mean for our relationship going forward? I think it says a lot. Ukraine in particular, I've said for years, has been a money laundering scheme. It has not been about a war between Russia and Ukraine and democracy and whatever else Democrats have told you it's about. It's been about money laundering. And money laundering going from your pocket, your taxpayer dollars, to Ukraine and then back around into the pockets of the Democrats. That is literally, and you got to understand this, Democrats have been funding their campaigns with your money. Think about how sinister that is. That politicians are using your money to convince you to vote for them so they can then turn around and get in power and steal more of your money. Here's the proof. A new report has revealed that the Ukrainian government launched a scheme to ensure Trump never re-entered the White House again after he announced his re-election bid in 2022. This is from Just the News. Y'all know John Solomon. They reported Wednesday night. I'm assuming this is John Solomon. Maybe it's somebody else there. They reported Wednesday night that the Ukrainian government discussed a plan to transfer hundreds of millions of dollars to Joe Biden's re-election campaign and the DNC. The reason they know this is because these were messages being sent back and forth that was intercepted by U.S. intelligence. They knew this. They caught these people on tape coming up with this scheme, cooking up this scheme, and did nothing about it. Why? Because they were probably in on it. The scheme involved using hundreds of millions of U.S. dollars of so-called clean energy that was supposed to go to help Ukraine. But instead, it ended up rewarding Trump's enemies. Tulsi Gabbard is aware of these intercepts and has ordered U.S. Agency for International Development, which is USAID, officials to determine whether the plot was carried out and if this matter should be criminally referred to the FBI. I'll go ahead and tell you. So they found these intercepted messages, and now they're looking into them to see if they actually did it. They've just got them on record of saying they were going to do it, but I can go ahead and tell you right now, they absolutely did it. And this comes at a time when this is between Donald Trump announcing for re-election and Joe Biden dropping out of the race. They knew that Joe Biden was going to need help getting his carcass dragged across the line in 2024. So they said, all right, we cannot let Trump back in the White House because he's going to pull all our funding, and then we're really screwed. So we'll take the money you send us, and then we'll send it straight back to you to help you get reelected. And thank God, by the grace of God, might I say, Joe Biden ultimately dropped out, and all that money was for naught. It was wasted, but it was for naught. Here's the report from Just the News. U.S. intelligence had intercepted Ukrainian government communications discussing a plot to route hundreds of millions of American tax dollars earmarked for clean energy in the war-torn country and move them to the United States to enrich then-President Joe Biden's 2024 re-election campaign and the DNC, according to a declassified intelligence report summarizing the intercepts. The declassified report is a summary of raw intercepts from U.S. spy agencies in late 2022 concerning the alleged plot, and officials who have reviewed the files said there seemed to be a lack of curiosity to investigate such an explosive allegation of foreign interference in a U.S. election. So think about this. This is like the CIA intercepts messages in Ukrainian government officials talking about using U.S. taxpayer dollars to fund a presidential campaign, and they said, "Oh, where did it go? Nothing to see here." They literally buried it. The Ukrainian government and unspecified U.S. government personnel through USAID in Kiev reportedly developed a plan that would provide hundreds of millions of U.S. taxpayer dollars to fund an infrastructure project for Ukraine that would be used as a cover to spend approximately 90% of the funds allocated to the DNC to fund Joe Biden's re-election campaign. They were confident the project would be funded initially, even though at some time in the future, the project would be disapproved as unnecessary. At this time, the money would already be allocated and impossible to return or use for a different purpose. So basically, they said, we've got this project. We need hundreds of millions of dollars for it. The government sends it. And then they get the money. They send it back. They send it to the Joe Biden campaign. And then they say, well, this project's not going to be able to be done anyway for X number of reasons. They knew that the project would not be able to be completed or be constructed or whatever on the front end. They just needed a cover to get the money. That's wild, ladies and gentlemen. The Biden regime did not investigate these allegations and was not tied to Russian disinformation efforts. One can imagine that this development will surely enrage Trump and prove unhelpful to Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky should he decide to shake down America for more money for his war. Now, initially, what made us suspicious, or what convinced me and many of you that the Ukrainian war was a money laundering scheme for the Democrats, came from Sam Bankman-Fried, who was the owner of FTX, which was basically a fake crypto company. And he's, as you know, he and his partner in crime, they're in prison now. They were involved in this as well in a different aspect, to where money would be sent from Joe Biden to Ukraine, your taxpayer dollars. Ukraine would then turn around and take a portion of that money after buying luxury cars and trains and planes and cocaine or whatever it is Vladimir Zelensky buys, they would take a chunk of that money and invest it into FTX, the fake cryptocurrency, and then FTX would then donate money to the DNC and the Joe Biden campaign. See how that, it was just a big circular motion as to where your money went. Apparently, it happened on many fronts, not just through FTX, but in some cases, it seems that money went straight from here, straight from your pockets to Ukraine, and then straight back to Joe Biden and the DNC. That is explosive. That is explosive. And that's more than just, as we were talking about the Sharpie story earlier, that's more than just government waste. That is corruption at the highest level. Like nothing we've ever seen before. This is crazy. So the DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, is looking into this. They're going to investigate. They're going to see if was it just talk or did they actually go through with it? And I can probably already answer that question for you as it probably happened. 205-545-9950. We got our 45s back, so we'll hit it back on the other side. Coming up, John Bird plays the guitar for you. Y'all picked it. Y'all wanted it. Y'all get it. Underdog Fantasy, one more time for you. UnderdogFantasy.com and the Underdog Fantasy application. Do we call them applications anymore? Should we go back to that? Download the application.
Yeah, just say app. App is cooler.
Just stick with app. Download the app today. Sign up. Use my promo code HeyNow. You already know all the details. You got big games like Tennessee and Alabama tonight. Other games throughout the weekend. Your opportunity to win money. And you ain't even got to spend a lot of money. You can play with as little as $1. You're just making picks on players and deciding if they're going to go higher or lower on specific stats. Like points, rebounds, steals, whatever it is, whatever you choose, it's up to you. Get your entries right, get them right, you win money. That easy. Easy peasy. So get with it. Download the app today and use promo code HeyNow to score $50 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code HeyNow. Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 19 or older and present in Alabama. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-MY-RESET or visit ncpgambling.org. Yes. Government waste, government inefficiency. I kind of, as I was pondering this morning, I had a lot of that on my mind. And I came across some images of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore. Do y'all remember this bridge? It's the one that got hit by the boat and collapsed however long ago that was. I think it was 3 years ago that happened. The images, no, it's been 2 years. I think it was 2 years ago. The images that I've seen for the rebuilding process of this, like where it's at today, is absolutely abysmal. It looks as if nothing's been done. Like, it's that bad. That is the epitome of government inefficiency. So, 2 years ago, as of, I think yesterday marked 2 years. In Democrat-controlled Maryland, Baltimore, you could probably say the construction's going a little slow. It may be a very large bridge, but it seems like this process is being intentionally dragged out. That's the only conclusion you can come to. Like, there's no way you could be going this slow without it being on purpose. The initial cost projection of this bridge, and this is like Jerome Powell level stuff. The initial cost projection was $1.7 billion, which, by the way, if you're the one driving that boat, that's a big mess up, $1.7 billion. The updated cost of the Francis Scott Key Bridge is $5.2 billion. And the opening day of the bridge has been moved from 2028 to 2030. They did 2 years away. And they're like, you know what? We probably need 2 more years. We need 4 years. And about $3.5 billion more dollars. $3.5 billion over budget and 2 years delayed. Nothing to see here. I'm sure nobody's pocketing any cash. The problem is when you have politicians in particular, when you have scummy political figures that are in control of large sums of money, they say to themselves, well, that's a lot of money. Nobody's going to know if $10 million is missing out of $5 billion, right? That's just like somebody's got, 500 pennies and you take 2 pennies. Nobody's going to really notice. So they think that. But then when 100 different people think that, then it ends up being a lot of money. And then the price starts to inflate, and then you get things such as this. Just a few hundred more environmental impact statements, and they'll be on the job. Don't worry about it. They got it. They gonna get it done. Baltimore is basically California of the East Coast, funding endless projects that never get done. Have you seen the one in California where they've got the preservation like nature bridge that they're building over the highway? It's basically just a bridge, but for animals. And so they built it, and it's just like they've just taken the landscape and they've mimicked it, or they've duplicated it so animals could get from one side of the road to the other, but did it as an overpass. It's pretty wild. And guess what? They're like halfway done and they run out of money. And now they're asking people to donate, which I'm sure the loving, compassionate liberals of California will be opening their wallets to say, yes, here, take more of my money to do this project that was absolutely pointless. But maybe not. Of course, all the people with money in California are exiting in dramatic fashion. So I don't know that they're going to have anything left. Oh, and another thing, remember in South LA how people were living in the sewer drains, in the storm drains? It turned into a big story. One of the local news outlets reported on it. Word got back to the city officials, and instead of trying to address the problem of the people themselves, like the human side of this issue, they just went down there and welded the storm drain shut. That was their solution to it. They're like, oh, we can't have this. We better weld this shut and keep them from getting in there. They can live on top of the sewer drain, but they can't live in the sewer drain. Amazing, amazing liberal logic that never ceases to just blow away anything else you've ever heard. Oh, and Goody, I'm just throwing headlines at you right now as we head towards the fourth hour. Stephen Colbert has been hired to write the new Lord of the Rings movie. I don't know if anybody heard that. Did you hear that?
No. What in the world?
Well, he's I guess he's out of a job. Is he out of a job yet? Is it
If he's not already out of a job, it's coming soon.
Well, yeah, because I think that his show's over in, I thought it was April is what they said, which would probably be like in a few days. But yeah, he's been a big fan of the Lord of the Rings books and even had a part in one of the Hobbit movies. But with the new Fellowship of the Ring movie, or it's going to be an adaptation of some of the chapters from the Fellowship of the Ring movies, he's going to be a screenwriter. Good for Stephen Colbert. I'm sure that movie's going to be great.